Hello, we're back again. This is Foundation 102, shade matching. You know what foundation is at this point. Now, how do you find a foundation that matches your shades? Now, we know that it can be difficult for Black women, darker skin, highly pigmented. Those of us that are darker skinned, we know that it's a little bit more difficult for us to find foundation and in the right color. And in the right undertones. So basically, but right now we're not even going to get into undertones. Undertones is going to have its own video too. But right now we're going to keep it simple and talk about shade matching, the best ways to shade match. Now, most people go straight for your hand. That's a no-no. Never shade match with your hand. I'm a prime example of why you shouldn't shade match with your hand. In case you haven't noticed, my hands and my face are like two different shades. Like literally, I'm looking in the mirror, like my hands, my limbs and stuff are like probably two shades darker than my face and my chest. So if I go into the store and try to shade match with my hand, which I used to do, we all used to do it, and don't do it, ladies, it's going to be way entirely too dark for my face and entirely too dark for my chest, and it's not going to look good. Now, this is the only time, listen up, this is the only time it's okay to get a lighter shade, okay? So, never match. Tip number 1 for shade matching, never match on your hand. Always match with your chest because you want this part of you to be cohesive. Even if my hands are darker or my limbs are darker, or if you're the opposite, if your skin is darker, your face is darker in chest and then your limbs are lighter, you want to go with the darker shade that matches this part of you because this is what's going to be seen. This is what's going to be in most pictures. Tip number 2 for shade matching is find the right person in the store to shade match. Now, I'm the type of person, very rarely, I mean, at this point, I don't need help, but even when I didn't, sometimes you can walk into Sephora, but sometimes you know your skin complexion better than anybody else do. So, you know how light you get in the winter, how dark you are in the summer, whatever, but always ask for help. If you don't think something looks good on you, I definitely suggest going to a place like Ulta or Sephora, especially when you're trying to try a new brand, find a new shade in a new brand that you never tried before. Definitely go into the store and try it first. You can have help in Ulta. There are experts in Sephora. And you can also, if it don't match, I know in Sephora, you can take them back. So, and sometimes even for me, Sephora's lighting, the fluorescent lights in Sephora, I always end up shade matching with my phone because the fluorescent lights really change the pigments and things. For an example, I got the Fenty foundation when it first launched and it looked so good in Sephora. The first one that I picked, I thought I had it. I got home, the undertones were totally neutral for my skin. I could not make it work, and normally I can make a foundation work, whether it's too dark or too light or whatever, and rarely do I have too light. But I could not make that Fenty foundation work. So sometimes you do need to make sure that you are at a place where you're shopping at a place that you can return it. And Sephora is definitely a place where you can return it. Don't overuse it. Be light with the packaging just in case, don't make it look belligerently used. But I don't think they mind anyway, especially if you're a VIP or Rouge member or whatever. But go with your instinct because 9 times out of 10, you know your skin more than people do. And if something don't really look, especially especially if it's a person of a different race than you, that's probably not as good. And even sometimes other black women don't shade match me correctly. For an example, I was in MAC, and if anybody know me, they know I do not like MAC products that much, besides the Fix Plus spray, which I live by. But I can never find a good match, a foundation in MAC. And because it's a luxury brand, it's a premier makeup brand, I need it to match and I need it to be beautiful. So sometimes other people can't shade match you. So do research, get on YouTube. Nowadays we have that luxury. We can get on YouTube, find somebody that look close to your skin tone, you know, and get their opinions and things, and then go shopping. Go to the stores that has it, Ulta, Sephora, JCPenney, whatever department store, and go check it out, because you'll be able to get customized help in those stores. Tip number 3 for shade matching. Sometimes, especially in drugstore, if you don't have the budget for luxury makeup and you want makeup now, you're trying to get in the game and get the ball rolling, sometimes you do have to, you know, maybe get 2 shades or just go with darker. At the end of the day, you can always, for the most part, unless the undertones are really, really off, you can always work with a foundation that's not quite your shade. Because for an example, if it's too light, you can heavily contour a little bit more. But I suggest the reverse. Never, never, never go lighter. I don't care if you think you lighter than you are, if you think you light skin, if you get in the store and because of whatever reasons, societal norms, you want to be a lighter shade than you actually are, go with the shade that matches, or go with the darker shade. Not too dark, but go, if you're stuck between 2, go with the darker shade, because you can always get a lighter shade or a lighter concealer and highlight and turn this whole area, your forehead, under your eyes, the bridge of your nose, like your chin, all, you can lighten this up so that the rest of the foundation kind of looks like a really good bronzer or contour, and you can make it work. But it's really difficult to make a lighter foundation work, because then you either end up looking ashy, pale, or plain old like a self-hater because you think you lighter than what you are. So always go darker, okay? Tip number, what is this, 4? I don't know. The next tip is, maybe that's it. Go into the store and try whatever you want. Go into Sephora, go into Ulta, where they will not only help you put it on, help you shade match, but even Sephora shade matching thing is not really correct. So go in the store when you have time. I always go into Sephora barefaced, go in Ulta barefaced, so you can really play in the makeup, take your time, find the formula that you want, especially if you're going to get a luxe brand. And a luxury brand really is the only ones that let you test them out. And then like Juvia's Place, and Juvia's Place, like in Ulta, is in the drugstore section because it's a little bit cheaper, along with Morphe and NYX and things like that. But always go in the store so you can play with the thing, play with liquids, you know, play with creams, play with powders, play with stick foundations, and see which formula you like, especially towards your brushes. See which formula works with your skin the most. See which formula blends well for you, covers your blemishes and things like that, your discoloration and all that. See which foundation will go with your skin, whether you have combination, oily, dry. Really get those suggestions from the people in the store, because you can get a tailor-made suggestion, you know, even more so than YouTube. Always research on YouTube, but definitely do your research and definitely get in personal help in the store. So that's all I have for shade matching. And the next video I'm gonna continue this series about each and every step. We're gonna talk about undertones. We're gonna talk about everything, and maybe undertones next, since that kind of, you can't talk about foundation at all without talking about undertones. So we're going to talk about matter of fact, I'm going to just talk about undertones in this video. So most people, there's a few type of undertones. There's warm, there's cool, there's neutral. That's the basics: warm, cool, and neutral. And me, I have warm undertones. Now, this is my opinion. Undertones will make or break your foundation. In my opinion, it is better, in my professional opinion, it is better to have the correct undertone in the wrong shade than to have a closer shade in the wrong undertone, because it just totally sticks out. Like, I cannot do neutral undertones. I can't do yellow undertones. I can't do red undertones. It looks horrible. You hear me? I have to do warm, golden. I can get away with orange undertones. Some people don't like it because they end up looking like a Oompa Loompa, but I can fix it. I will get away with orange, but I cannot do neutral. I cannot do yellow. And neutral looks really hard. Neutral and yellow looks really horrible on me. And that was my issue with the Fendi foundation. And undertones take a little bit more studying. It's a little bit more intricate. And essentially what an undertone is, if you would take the top layer off of your skin, what color would be underneath? And for the most part, thinking of color theory and all those things, the color wheel, etc. All of those things are very important in makeup. Undertones are very important in makeup. Sometimes it's really, once you get used to it, you can start looking at people and seeing their undertones, especially when you get to shade matching them or trying to, as a professional makeup artist, sometimes you have to create and mix mediums and mix colors together to get the right color. And you really need to be able to pinpoint undertones, or your work is not going to look good. So definitely research undertones heavily. Look at your face, look at pictures and natural lighting, look at without filters and everything, and really look and see what you see. The colors that would be underneath your skin if the top layer peeled off. And for me, mine's are golden and warm golden. Also, go in, like everything else, go into the store, speak with the ladies or the gentleman that is working in Sephora or working in Ulta, and they can pinpoint your undertone and help you out. So that is all I have for you guys today for Foundation 102, undertones and shade matching. So you guys have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video.